Hello, hope you're well on this fine day. We're going to talk growth mindsets and their impact on well-being in today's little self-care short featurette. Because I'm talking my way through the key concepts in my book, Pillars of Success for Social Workers. I bet if you watch this every day, which I bet not many people, I bet if you watch this every day, you're sick of me showing you this book now. And I bet you're sick of me saying, it's not just for social workers, because we're on self-care shorts here, not social work shorts here. Although there's so much crossover, and we're doing Pillars of Success for social workers, but actually they're pillars of success for everybody out there. All you beautiful people doing jobs that probably person-facing jobs, probably jobs where there's a lot of time management kind of stuff going on, diary management, workflow management going on. So it's about all of that kind of stuff. Check out the website, shortsmedia.org. Check out, you're checking out Self-Care Shorts YouTube channel. If you are kicking about and want to listen to some social work stuff, you'll find us on Social Work Shorts YouTube channel, also doing that stuff. And I'm doing it again, saying we. Do you know what I mean? There isn't a we, it's the royal we, isn't it? Anyway, today I'm going to talk about this idea from groundbreaking work, I suppose. That's what it gets called often, and that's how I've written it in the book. Groundbreaking work on mindsets by Carol Dweck in her book called Mindset. And it's this idea that in a fixed mindset, people have a fixed mindset. They believe that their intelligence, their talent, their personality are all innate and unchangeable. And that leads to, I suppose, a fear of failure. One of the reasons we procrastinate is because we fear failure. So therefore, if we don't do anything, we can't fail. You only fail when you do something. It's the shots you miss that mean you hit the shots when you need to hit the shots, isn't it? And people with a fixed mindset tend to avoid challenges. And as we know, the world is full of challenges. So a growth mindset is rooted in a belief that those qualities, intelligence, talent, personality, are can be developed. Our personality changes. I'm naturally an introvert, but my personality now is, I wouldn't say it's extrovert, but I'm quite comfortable doing this kind of thing. And I wouldn't have been 25, 30 years ago. Wouldn't have been comfortable with this at all. So my personality has changed. My intelligence has certainly changed. I know loads more stuff now than I did. My talent? Well, you work at stuff, don't you? You work at stuff and you become better. I'm certainly a better guitarist than I was years ago. I'm certainly a better singer than I was. And I think about those things. I'm certainly, when I think back to early lectures, I'm certainly better at doing that now. Maybe not better. Better's the wrong word. Different. The way I kind of teach now is very different to how it was back in the day when the PowerPoint was the safety blanket, Anyway, so a growth mindset is rooted in some sort of belief that you can develop through hard work, learning, education, and persistence. Consistency and persistence, doing the same thing repeatedly, means you get better at it. Simple as that. So it encourages us to kind of embrace challenges, I suppose, learn from setbacks, because we can improve. Growth mindset. So it can be challenging though, adopting this growth mindset. Social work demands adaptation to complex and often unpredictable situations, working with trauma, conflict, systemic challenges that I've talked about just last time. And if in those moments, we're thinking, if you think about trauma here, and I'm not going to minimize the impact of trauma, but if you have a fixed mindset about what you've experienced, whatever that is, then that can be quite debilitating. If you believe that you can, or if we believe as social workers, we can connect with somebody, empathize with them, and help them tell themselves a different story, maybe solve problems in different ways, that if they feel trauma is seldom personal failure, as a consequence of personal failure, but if we feel that it was a personal failure of some way, then we can say, well, what do we learn from this? And again, I'm not minimizing the impact of trauma when I say that, but there is a thing called vicarious resilience, which is resilience that grows out of observing the trauma of other people. And there is growth out of trauma. There is growth out of those things. It is possible, if very hard. So growth mindset fosters resilience by encouraging you to view these challenges, I suppose, as stepping stones forward. We have to reconcile things, understand them, work with the emotions they generate, and then think, well, what do we do next? What do I learn from this experience? What does it say about how I view my limitations that may or not be very real? I'm never going to be an Olympic athlete, but I could run a bit faster than I run now, just to give you a very basic example. You know what I mean? So a growth mindset helps you to believe you can develop new skills, improve existing ones, and it embraces this lifelong learning. And if we go back to eudaimonic self-care, if we go back to that, we see that that's embedded in that as well. So having a growth mindset is a form of eudaimonic self-care. And well, I know I've been writing recently about imposter syndrome as well, and people who experience imposter syndrome and it limits them probably have a fixed mindset. I'm just thinking about this now, actually, as I say it, because of what I've been thinking about recently. But people who experience imposter syndrome, myself included, but have a growth mindset, constantly check themselves, or often their own critic, and that can be a positive thing. Often their own critic, as long as these things don't get out of control and start to debilitate. So, if you've got a growth mindset to say that I can improve, but you've got a bit of imposter syndrome, so you're constantly checking yourself and I'll just check that out again. You know what I mean? I do this when I'm marking assignments at university. A student will give me something back in terms of some theoretical idea, and I'll know I'll know it's right because I'll have taught them it, and I still find myself checking sometimes. I best just check that, especially if I think they've got it wrong, and I think, I need to point out that that's not how it is. I think, better just check that I haven't got it wrong. Do you know what I mean? I've been teaching this stuff for a good few years, and that doesn't mean to say that I can't learn at all. Doesn't mean to say that I can't teach it better. Doesn't mean to say that there's not more to know. There's always more to know. But I know enough to probably mark an undergraduate essay and be confident in what I know, probably. But I still find myself checking, which is a bit odd, really, isn't it? So anyway, there you go. So the practical implications of having a growth mindset are that it helps us to manage stress and prevent burnout, because we see setbacks, emotionally taxing situations, as opportunities to grow, opportunities to seize. Now, you can't seize them all, goodness me. I talk about taking small steps. You cannot seize all the opportunities, but we can seize the ones that have got some weight behind them, where we think, I'll give that a go. Sometimes we've just got to let things go. Sometimes we seize it and go, right, hang on a minute, what's this telling me? What's this telling me here? And one of the things that it helps us do, if we've got that kind of mindset, and maybe we've had a bit of imposter syndrome and not had that mindset before, maybe it helps nurture empathy for people who are struggling. And if we can understand, we don't have to tell people our journey necessarily, but if we can understand that there's a journey here, and you take small steps forward, then we can help people kind of do that themselves. So a growth mindset transforms the obstacles that face us into opportunities. The obstacle is the way. It's all Stoic philosophy. The obstacle is the way. So the obstacle becomes an opportunity. We get past the obstacle and it creates opportunity. It fosters this lifelong learning and reinforces our resilience. And that's good, because we get a good, solid foundation as a springboard to leap forward. The salmon leaping up the river. Here we go. Take care. See you next time.